Okay.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Tea with Fee. And today we are welcoming author Teresa Marks. Now, Teresa
Mm.
Marks, she is an author, a singer, and a fashionista. So I would like Teresa to introduce herself. Tell us a little bit about Teresa.
Hello, everybody. Yes, I am Teresa Marks. Been living in Texas for almost 11 years, and I'm from Michigan. Just became an author this year, yay! And I'm so excited to be here with Miss Felicia to talk some tea about this new book of mine. It's called Mask Off.
Yeah, so I made your book, my background. This is Mask Off, everybody. Okay. I love the cover, just saying that. Um, and what I love about this book, so to set this up, this is like a story of some true life events that have happened to you.
Mhm.
And you discuss having to wear or feeling the need to wear certain masks during your life and how you've learned to take those masks off. So, what
Mhm.
I'd first like to ask you is who was Teresa before you got this revelation of wearing masks and taking them off? How would you have described Teresa 10 years ago, 15 years ago?
Oh God. So 10 to 15 years ago, Teresa was this desperate, want to be like everybody else, didn't know who she was, didn't know her worth, self-love was not there. Um, she was that type of girl. She was looking for love in all of the wrong places. She wanted to be loved so much that she didn't even love herself. So she really didn't know what love was. And so she had to kind of like go through some things to actually find out who she was and whose she was. Um, to find out who she was as a person, as a woman, um, as a spiritual person, just all the things of life. I had to find out who I was. I had to go through a lot of hardship and a lot of things to find out who I was as a person, as a woman.
Okay, and saying, given that, who is Teresa today?
Oh God, Teresa today is this happy, loving, wonderful person with a big heart, who loves people, who wants to help in any capacity. She knows who she is now. She knows who she is. She loves herself. She's in love with herself. But more importantly, I'm happy. I'm in a happy place. I'm grateful and I'm thankful for where I'm at. For where I'm at, yes.
Yes, so the bridge between the old Teresa and the new Teresa, that included identifying some masks that you were wearing and then
Mhm.
taking them off. So I would like you to walk us through how you discovered that you were wearing these masks.
Wow. To be honest with you, I didn't even know that they were masks
Mhm.
that I were wearing. I had picked up. Um, in one chapter of the book, it does say that I heard my pastor saying he was talking about masks that people wear, and that just kind of stuck with me. So I believe a mask is something that people pick up. Now we know what the definition of a mask is, but I think sometimes people pick up masks and they don't even know that they're picking up a mask. So um how I described it as me picking up a mask is that I was doing things that I know I shouldn't be doing, or I was acting a certain type of way that I shouldn't have been acting. That is a mask because if you're doing something that's not in within your character or it's outside of your character, that's a mask to me. And everybody may not agree, but to me, that's what a mask was. And so I speak about two masks that I did pick up in this, in this life that God did not call for me to pick up. And so that's why I call them masks, because it's like a portraying of something or somebody that I'm trying to be like. And that's not who I was called to be like or to act like or whatever the case may be.
Well, it sounds like to me a mask is when you're not being your authentic self.
Absolutely.
Okay. And that kind of leads into one of the first masks you talk about, which is people pleasing.
Mhm.
So can you tell us a little bit about what that mask, what it was like wearing that mask for you?
For me, being a people pleaser is that I was trying to get everyone to like, love me. So I would do, there was no boundaries when it came to people pleasing. No boundaries. Whenever somebody asked me to do something, I was there like Johnny on the spot. I was doing it, just trying to please people. And at the end of the day, I was never pleasing them because I was always doing something that kind of still made people upset. So people pleasing for me was just ripping and running. I was like what are those, like those rats or whatever that be going around in those wheels, and I wasn't, yeah, right, exactly, and not getting anywhere, so it's just like a merry-go-round. You're trying to get people to do all, I mean, you're trying to please all these people, and you still gonna come out still probably talked about, still not being able to please everybody, still come out being upset and hurt and broken, trying to please everybody. And that's what I was trying to do. I was trying to please everybody, from my mom, from the kids at school, even into adulthood. I brought that people pleasing into my adulthood, trying to get people to, like me, wear what they want me to wear, do my hair the way I want them to, the way that they want me to do my hair, even my house, like, decorating my house the way they want, just doing all kind of craziness. And I was like, you know what? This has to stop. It just wasn't I didn't have any boundaries when it came to people pleasing at all.
How
So
did you get to that
yeah.
point of this has to stop? Did something happen, did you just one day realize, or did something happen with a person and you just
Mhm.
like, you know what, why am I even trying to please this person? They're never gonna be happy anyway, and I'm not happy.
Exactly. And that's what it was, Felicia. I wasn't happy. I wasn't happy when I stopped and thought, like, I'm doing all this stuff for these people, or I'm doing what people tell me to do. And they're, for one, still talking about me. So I found out about that I was still being talked about. I still was coming in here broken and looking at things and looking at myself like, this is not how I want to have myself or have my house or whatever the case may be. Whatever I was doing, I'm ripping and running, ain't got no gas money, trying to make sure people. I was like, this has to stop. I'm like, because I'm still hurt. I'm still broken. It's not helping me. This is hindering me. And if these people love me, they wouldn't have me. They were using me. And so like, people will use you until they think they can use you up. So like when you don't have boundaries, when you don't set boundaries for yourself, people will use you until they can't use you anymore. So I got tired. I was tired. Literally, especially when I moved here to Texas. I was tired, and from where I came from, we don't have freeways and all of that stuff. I got tired of driving from one point of DFW to the other point. So I was just like, and not just even here, but even back home, I just got tired of just trying to make everybody happy. But I was the one that was left unhappy. And then they still wasn't happy with what I was doing anyway. I was just a fool. Yeah.
Well, I say that's a very important point to make because sometimes as women, we are even geared and reared to be people pleasers. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and even sometimes as Christian women, it's hard to find that balance of a boundary of wanting to be a servant, to want to help versus being taken advantage of. So yeah, that's an important point of wearing that mask of people pleaser because a lot of people do that. I think that's what one of the points in your book that I believe when someone reads it's going to help them a lot
Mm-hmm.
is
Mm-hmm.
identifying when they are a people pleaser. And like you said, when you're doing things to keep get people to like you, and you really want to say no, right?
Exactly. Yeah, that I really did. I wanted to say no sometime, but I was so scared that if I said no, or they're not going to be my friend no more, or they're not going to like me no more, or he's not going to want to be with me no more if I say no. So I would just do it, and like I said, it just wasn't any boundaries set. So that's my biggest thing. You have to set boundaries in your life, because if you don't set boundaries in your life, you're gonna be a run on. You're gonna be a run on and a run over person for sure.
So I want to ask, how does it feel, or when you first set a boundary with someone, what was that like? And how did that feel for you?
Ooh, scary. It felt scary, but I felt good.
Yeah.
I felt good because, once I set well, when I set the boundary, they were kind of like taken aback, like, "Oh, for real? Yeah, for real. You will no longer run over me, or no longer get what you want out of me." So yeah, it was scary, but then I was so proud of myself when I set this boundary. It was like a breath of fresh air. I was like, I did it. Like, I actually really did this, So I think when you first set that boundary, it's gonna be a really great feeling. At least it was for me. It was a really great feeling. And then it just became easier and easier and easier. So, 'cause now I can say no and don't care, because for me, I was like so worried about what people was going to think, and I had to start, I had to kind of start thinking like, okay, people don't have a problem saying no to me, and they don't care how I feel,
That part.
right? So why I can't say no to somebody? Okay, so no, so it's gonna became a lot easier to say no. Or no, I'm not doing that. Or no, you have to do that yourself. Or I don't care what you think about how my house look, what kind of car I drive. Okay, if you don't like what I got, how about you go take your debit card and your cash and give me what you want? How about that? Yeah.
And I think when you said it gets easier and easier, it's also the more you say no, you get stronger and more confident in your no.
Absolutely.
And I think that's very important, especially for women. So the
Yes.
next mask you talk about is desperate for a man. Now, first I want to
Ooh.
say, I want to say you're very brave for putting that in the book, because that desperate for a man, a lot of women wear that mask, but they're not willing to say it, or they're not willing to admit it. So when you say
Mhm.
desperate for a man, can you elaborate a little bit?
Oh my, that is like
You
my
don't got to get
favorite.
you only wear what you're comfortable with. But what do you mean by that?
Oh my. Oh my. Oh my. Oh, where do I start? Okay. So, desperate for a man comes with, oh my, okay, so I'm gonna start here. So I had always been told ever since I was like in school that I was an ugly girl. I really didn't get a lot of attention from the boys and all this and that. So I was like, I said, when I get grown, I'm gonna be able to buy my own clothes, this, that, and the third, and the boys gonna start looking at me, yada yada yada, right? So it kind of happened, but it kind of didn't happen. So death before a man comes from the lack of not having a father. So never being able to see how I was supposed to get treated, see how I was supposed to get treated as a young lady. So never been a daddy's girl and somebody that I could look up to as a man, and then him telling me or showing me what a young lady or a woman is supposed to be treated like. So that's the first thing. So I was just desperate for somebody to love me because I didn't love myself, because I was always told that, you ugly, you this, you that, nobody wants you or whatever. So I was just I had this desperation. I wanted to be somebody's girlfriend so bad. I want to be somebody's woman. You see all these love stories and these things on TV and all this and that. You see your little friends and all this and that. that's getting married or have boyfriends. I wanted one. So I was desperate. Like I was just and that like anybody that showed me any type of attention from the male perspective, I was all in. I see all type of red, green, yellow, purple flags, and I was still all in because I wanted to just, I just wanted to be loved by somebody. But yeah, it was only because I didn't love myself.
Yeah, I think sometimes that is the idea of being chosen, you know, idea
Yes.
of being someone's choice. And
Mhm.
I can also see how that stems from uh, lacking a father, but you also talk about learning about your birth story and how
Mhm.
that affected you. Do you want to go into that a little bit?
Absolutely. So yeah, my birth, see, I don't want to get a whole book away,
Okay,
but
okay. Well, let's
yeah.
just say this. Um, Sometimes how you start can affect your life, but
Okay.
God, that doesn't determine how you finish.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah,
We do want them to read the book. We do want them to,
yeah.
but yeah, when I read that, I was like, okay, okay, I see. I can see how
Mhm.
that can, I mean, childhood wounds, mother wounds, father wounds, we carry those
Mhm.
until we learn how to heal,
Absolutely.
and we can wear
Absolutely.
masks to cover those things, but that doesn't mean that
Mhm.
it's still not there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. This desperate for a man is just that is something you never want to chase after because that's something that it can lead you down the wrong path.
Yeah.
I yeah, just to kind of keep it, I was just doing things that I shouldn't have been doing. I was doing a lot of the stuff that I shouldn't have been doing. And it just, yeah. Never be desperate for anything, for nobody. Yeah. Be desperate after God or be desperate after your goals, your success, your career, doing good in the world. Be desperate after those things, but never be desperate after another person. Don't do that. Yeah.
Like you said, we don't want to give the whole book away, but if someone were to buy Mask Off and to read it, what do you want their takeaway to be?
Mm. So when you read this book, I want you to take away loving yourself more. I want you to be authentic in everything that you do. You never have to be pretentious. You never have to put on a pretentious mask or this pretentious act in front of people just because of what. Always be who you are. Always. Never put a mask on because you feel like you don't fit in or you're trying to fit in somewhere. Be your authentic self at all costs, at all the time, because nobody can be you but you. And you are beautifully and wonderfully made in the eyesight of God. So when you read this book, if you know anybody that's wearing a mask or being pretentious or this have went through or have gone through or is going through some of the things that I've been through, just teach them or show them to love themselves and then pray for them as well. I just want you to know, I just want you to know that you don't have to wear a mask to be who you are and who God created you to be. Just be your totally completely authentic self. Just be you. Because that's something that I had a problem with for a very, very long time. I always had a problem with being Teresa Marks. I always had a problem with that. I wanted to be like everybody else. I thought everybody else's life was so much better than mine. But your life is great. You're here for a reason. You have a purpose in this life. Whether you found it or not, just know that you have one. And when you do find it, serving your purpose. It's not meant for you to be like Susan. It's not meant for you to be like Billy over here. It's meant for you to be just who God created you to be. No matter where you are, who you are in life. Just know, just be yourself.
I love it. I love it. I think that's the perfect note to end on. So if someone wants to purchase Mask Off, where can they get Mask
So you can go on Amazon .com. It is on Amazon. It is 11.99 on Amazon. You can also I have cards, or you can also let me know or write me, email me. I do have an email. Felicia has my email. She can give it to you, or I can give it to you. You can email me and I can send it, I can sign it and send you some other little trinkets in the mail. But Amazon probably would be your best bet to go on there and get it. Like I said, it's 11.99, and then read it, and I hope it blesses your heart. I hope it blesses you. And pass it on. Pass it on to anybody who you think may need it, or tell other people about it. It's going to bless you. It's not one of those happy good books. It's really telling about some of the things that we've been through, and we all have a story. Every last one of us do. I was just told by God to write mine and share a little bit of my secrets and my the downfalls that I endured in this life.
Are you on social media?
Yes, and
Facebook,
I'm on
Instagram?
right, and I'm on Facebook. You can hit me up in Messenger. I'm sorry, I forgot about that. I'm on TikTok, Instagram as well, but Facebook is
What's
probably
your
where you would
handle?
find me.
What's your handle on TikTok?
So my handle on TikTok is called Miss MS 5074.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you, Miss Teresa Marks, for taking some time to talk tea with me. And
Yeah,
yes, everyone get Mask Off. It is a great read. And like Miss Teresa Marks said, it will show you how you can walk in your purpose. I just want to thank you for joining me.
you are so very welcome. Thank you for having me, Felicia.
All right, bye.
Bye.